not loud enough. Georg, could you check the speaker? We have sound technician Charlie. It works, huh?
Yeah.
I just need to be very close to the...
Angle it a little bit for me.
Ah?
Georg, angle it a little bit for me. I don't hear that.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah. Ah.
Thank you.
Much better.
Thank you.
Oh.
Benno, hello. What a pleasure that you invited me again to host this talking situation in the Contact Festival Freiburg. This year you really wanted to be easy, cozy, to answer a few questions because it's a big thing to do this for the 20th time. 19 times in this space. And 17. You were in a different space sometimes?
The first year was in Haslach, was a smaller space. And then there were 2006, I think it was, where we needed to move to a different hall. Kind of the similar size, but and there we were 2 times, right? Mm-hmm. So we were 17 times in this space.
Including this time. Including this time.
And we already in the teachers' meetings that there's a few people here who really come, or were here in the first or in the second time. Some people come very often, some people have a big gap in between, they come back again. But yeah, how did it all start? What was the idea about this, making a big gathering like this for contact improvisation in Germany, the south of Germany, next to the Black Forest?
So some of you might not know Benno. Him and me, we met. I was in the West Coast Festival, and I came back and I'm like, oh, I need to dance. I went to his jam, and I met Benno, and I was talking about it, and he had also an idea about festival. About festival, you hear me? Yes?
Let's need to put it closer to you.
Okay, even closer. Yeah, got it. Now I can speak leiser. Yeah, and like for me it was, maybe each of us can say something about it, but for me it was really like seeing in San Francisco the West Coast Contact Festival, which was like a big meeting and gathering of the teachers as well. Even though in Germany there were a lot of weekend jams happening, but the teachers didn't know each other so well and didn't meet. So for me, that was like, oh, that's a way of meeting and sharing and working together. So that was like that would be working very well in Germany probably. So maybe you want to say.
Exactly. It was somehow also to see that was the time when internet came up, so it was really closer. So it was really the time where information was starting to flow faster, also between the US and us and different parts of Europe. And at that time, I saw mainly in Germany a very big community of contact improvisation, and till then I already organized many weekend jams. Also the New Year jam was then when I moved to Freiburg in '99. Yeah, and there Barbara came just from from Berkeley Festival, and yeah, somehow I was ready to do something else, to do something bigger than just always again this small 2-day or 3-day jams. Yeah.
Yeah, so we like, okay, let's do that, no? We grabbed on the idea and then...
So in a way, the creators of this idea of the festival are these two people on the right side of me. And they came at one point, they came to me and told me this possible event, and they showed me, I think, even the schedule of the West Coast Festival. And I was kind of, wow, very blown, like with this idea, with this possibility to create something like this, because in a way, how they said, there was already a big jam culture for weekend jams, where we met inside Germany. A lot of traveling was starting to happen. But I was, I can say, I was too stupid. My mind could not think something like an event like this. I just had the idea, oh, weekend jam, all day dancing is enough. And when they showed me this concept, I thought, wow, this is really something new, and I wanted to support this idea. And we were discussing still if it should happen in Karlsruhe or Freiburg, but in a way, we were looking for a place here in Freiburg, and we were in much smaller spaces. We hoped that we could gather 100 people, and we had right away 120 people of contactors who came, and it was not only coming from Germany, they came already from Israel, I think, 5 people. We were very surprised. We didn't understand how they got the information, but as Benny said, there was internet. I mean, we cannot believe that something like this could spread. Even before it is happening, the information could spread so good that other people from other communities that are so far away would come to Freiburg, Germany. And but we have to say and to think about that it was the first event like this in Europe, and therefore I think it was also the time of internet, but also the time of Ryanair, I have to say. Yeah. Not yet.
German wing.
German wings, but flying became affordable. The borders were down inside. I mean, there was a big gap between East and West of Europe, but this wall fell down, everything was more possible, and people started to travel. And like this, it was a big push.
Travel.
Yeah, talking about traveling, I was living in Mexico, and I was hitchhiking to my very, very first Contact Festival, which is where I met Barbara, the West Coast Contact Festival. And then I decided I need to see the improvisation scene in Europe. And I arrived in Europe, where I met Esther and Peter and many of you that are here at Eastside. There was another event that doesn't exist anymore, Options 999. And then it was the very, very first Contact Festival Freiburg. And I think I was like, we were 2 helpers and the 3 organizers supporting the event.
But you already invited, like the intensive courses were already in place, and you invited other teachers to teach one class, and I was one of them in the first one. And I remember this really well, how exciting it was to be in that size for like these 4, I think it was 4 days or 5 days already.
It's 5 days already, yeah.
And a lot of people, really international people came. This was really quite wonderful.
Hey, I want to
I mean,
interrupt you for a second. Would you rather have this light on or not? Sorry.
No,
Yeah, you're good?
Thank you.
Thank you, Miko.
So,
We weren't so sure about the light setting, so we are improvising that, but it's cozy enough, I think. Here is in a bright color.
I mean, the concept of our festival was also that we really wanted to create something very international, because we saw the model of the West Coast Festival, that the West Coast Festival is a model for a kind of, let's say, regional gathering from regional teachers. It was mainly West Coast teacher teaching, and we thought, wow, no, we want to have a wider view of a community, and therefore we invited right away intensive teacher from far away. So there were, it was Benno Forum from Sweden, it was Dieter from Germany, sorry, Karusla from Germany, sorry, Kathy Carragher came from the States or from Arnhem, Mark Tompkins from Paris. It was the second year, sorry, where we had Ray, who is here, and Martin, I think was the second year. Yeah, but our idea was right away from the beginning to have very international teachers, as international as possible. And also a very important idea for the festival was that we wanted to create an event that is residential. So, because the West Coast Festival, you need to know that it was not as residential as our event was from the beginning. They did not really provide food and sleeping places for all the people. So mainly it was people from the Bay Area who came during the day, but they slept at home. And we, through all the jam culture, who was happening for years already before, me also, I created a Black Forest Jam the years before. We created something really for people traveling. They come to a place and only dance, and they are supported all the time by food and a good dance floor and a sleeping mat where you could sleep in the corner. So this is a basic needs for an event like this, and this we wanted also to have for our festival. And
how was the idea of when the teaching came in? Because the jam culture was really, it was weekends of dancing together. It was maybe a warm-up, but not even very much. It was really, you would dance for 3 days uninterrupted, sometimes even through the nights. And where came this idea to really have like teacher, like making it thicker, making it more known, or making it spread more? What was the idea behind the teaching?
For me, it was really the exchange between the different styles, because in Germany, I mean, I didn't know some of the teachers, but usually you were like teaching in your area, and then you come to a jam, you just dance, you don't even know if they're the one who's teaching or not. And so we could exchange and see like each other's teaching. That was for me. And also like, since I was in the States at that time, the style dancing there was very different. So I'm like contact, like, wow, this is very different. So maybe we should start our style in Europe, what I think we have. Even though festival is international. You know? So it can mix, and it's bigger variety of all. Yeah.
So for me, it was also coming from the EDDC in the beginning of the 90s, where many US teachers were teaching, including these persons like Nancy Stark-Smith, Steve Paxton, Karen Nelson, KJ Holmes. So many teachers I didn't know, and I didn't know that they were good, and yeah, so it was also inspiring, and knowing, oh, we can bring them to this festival, not all at once, but through the years, and they did know some other good teachers, so somehow it was really inspiring for me each year also to see how it was growing, and the community between the teachers. And I think, I don't know when we started to have this teacher meeting also before, seeing that this was an important part.
We started 2002 with a teacher meeting because it was needed. it was a big help for us organizers. Thanks. We had a group of people who know the space already and know what to do. It was just like when we three started, like, how many did we have? 150 people maybe at the time, and then like 150, and then like everybody's like asking the same questions over and over again. And so we had a group of teachers who knew in the space and could help with questions and also preparing the space. Also that it's not us like providing everything, it's also teachers help building this container like we still do. And the teacher meeting is also like a big feeding of exchange and eating a lot of material information, what we gather in there and can transport through to the festival.
Yeah, and it's really quite unique in the structure of festivals that you have this really long teachers meeting in front, and it's as also this year. Of course, there's quite a work to support you in the organization and spread all the workload on 40 shoulders, but also it's preparing the space, warming the space, starting the dancing 5 days before the crowds come.
But we have to say that it was not clear for us, this teachers meeting in the very beginning, what it could be. And I remember that the teachers asked us, wouldn't you like to, it was the West Coast teacher were asking us, wouldn't you like to maybe do a teachers meeting one day before, because we also do it and it's very helpful. So in a way, they pushed us a little bit into this direction, trying to start with the teachers and the teachers as a support system for this festival. We did not think of this. I think, or me at least, I did not think of this. But during the years, we understood it slowly, how much responsibility the teachers can take over and how helpful it is. And only through the support of the teachers meeting, we could raise the amount of the participants. Because in the beginning, we three, because Danny was not in the fully team in the beginning, we three kept all the decisions and tried to keep the control, but through the teachers meeting, through giving responsibility to the teachers, we could also give some of the power of the decisions of the support to the teachers, and only through the teachers meeting this event, in my eyes, is so successful. The beginning in 2002 we started with 1 day teachers meeting, then later it was 2 days teachers meeting, then 3, then 4, and since maybe 5 or 6 years it's 5 days of teachers meeting. And this changed also, because in the beginning it was just, let's just dance with each other and then you do your job. Something like this, you discuss your job. But during the years, because we added days, we added also time for the teachers to research, to bring their own question, to question the ways of teaching. It became really a very important place of the festival, that they wanted to have a gathering for themselves, for their own support of their own work. So half of the teachers meeting is just about their questions for their general teaching, and the other half is just for the festival organization. But through this, and each year there's like 40, 50 former teachers who come, who knows the festival, who are part of this support team. Only through this we have this big support. And only through this we can then welcome on the first day 200 other people. So we are 300 people, and it's running smooth.
Yeah, maybe come a little bit into more of the content. 20 20 years is a long time also for the development of a form. And when I read in the Contact Quarterly one of the last editorials from Nancy where she says, oh, Contact has branched out in so many different styles and regions, and maybe there's 300 participants, maybe there's 300 ideas of what Contact can be, or what it should be, or what it can be. So maybe, do you have ideas about that? How you see it changing? How you see it evolving for yourself or for the festival? Some ideas?
What can I say? We travel a lot, also teaching. I come from another continent where I taught also a lot. So like the Latin American community also breathes through me. The question that normally comes, and it's like there is differences. What do you notice going around the different countries? And at least in Argentina or those other countries, I come back a little bit to what Barbara was saying, because this also strikes me about the, let's say, like the form or the way of dancing. I remember the very, very first festival, I was very surprised because it was much more verticality, it was much more traveling through space but not falling through space. I learned West Coast contact style, which is really dealing with weight and following the weight, going up and down spherically. And it was interesting. I thought, this is more like what I will call like salon dance. And then I started to see already through the first festival how the fact that we have some West Coast people, teachers and also dancers, influence that verticality. And yeah, it contagions. So I think today I cannot differentiate anymore, and probably myself I'm contagious too by all the mix of cultures we have through the years. Your question. I mean, I can talk about lately because that's a big change. Since 3 years, we started this scholarship program, which actually really allow us to invite people that without it they will never have the opportunity to be here. And so for the very first time we have like dancers applying from Palestine or from Africa or from further countries, which we were always wondering where these people are. Like this year is quite touching because I heard for 20 years where the African continent is present in the festivals or in the jams. Anywhere I go, even in the States, even in Brazil, even in many countries. So I think that, plus the helpers, like we offer work exchange since the beginning. I was work exchange from the very beginning. And also that offered the opportunity for other people that wouldn't have the opportunity to come to join. So I think that opened many, many doors.
Want to hear more?
No, but it's also, we had of course the idea of not being a dialogue between the four of you and me, but really very curious, maybe also even in that respect, what would be questions from you all to the three organizers and Benno. What is interesting for you to hear from them about the history or maybe about the future?
Yeah, we were thinking to invite you to ask us whatever you want, because normally we don't have the time for talking about it. We are running around and we are not so available to sit and chat. So this could be also an opportunity, and yeah, somehow we are here for you to answer whatever comes, if possible. If not, we'll pass.
Actually, it is late, but it is really a rare opportunity to chat a little. Anything?
Is the fire still on?
The fire is burning. I turned the sound down a little bit.
That's good.
It's an improvised question, excuse me if it's silly, but if you want to go deeper into contact improvisation, accept the quality of listening, what would be the second quality?
I'm listening.
What?
I'm listening.
What would be the second important quality?
This is in a way a question to teachers. We are the organizers, so we could pass it further. I mean, each of you, I think, has an answer to this. What besides listening is important for
Actually,
contact?
today I was thinking, causing it only a little.
What cause?
Causing it only a little.
Well, I was thinking of just modulating weight. For me, is also something very important, to be able to modulate the weight.
Just one sentence which came from the teacher meeting we had a lab about, and there was one sentence: do the minimum and you will see. So I'm doing the registration.
How do they share?
Some people said, oh, this festival is very structured, very organized. We are really very organized, from also the administration or organization of it. So we have clear lists, clear tasks. So each has a certain amount of tasks. We exactly define in which way we need to integrate, when there is a decision to be made, to integrate the others, or if I can make decisions alone inside this task, and things like this. And it's very, very important. And we have a kind of regularity, but still we step over borders or limits of the others, and suddenly there is irritation, and we need to negotiate, and we negotiate. And it's a big thing, the organization of an event like this. But I think, from my perspective, we have a lot of clarity inside the tasks and the demands, and I think this is something that I think we in the team could really build up during the years, and that's why we still can do it.
You also use...
Oh, yeah.
I'll say after.
I also think that we could see each other's abilities and strengths, and then also divide the work by what we are good at and what is easy for each person. We can say no to something or yes to something, or negotiate or decide to do it together, ask for support. I remember the year where we sit down and decided to write every job, what it needs to, can it be done alone, does it need support from others, it needs to be an independent, completely job, or it needs to be discussed and then someone takes the responsibility. And we took like, I don't know how many meetings just to define that in order to know what we need to do, how we need to do it, and then be able to do it without having to have discussions and over discussions and over discussions. And through the year, it's quite amazing how that is, it has gotten so clear that we have like a map. We call it a time plan. So if I look to March, I know what I need to do, what Eki needs to do, what Barbara needs to do.
I also want to say, like, we were growing together with it. In the beginning, we did everything, everybody did everything, you know, it's like, and I think we are all very able to do everything, you know, and kind of, there's maybe a common sense of what needs to be done, but also in the whole structure we have, there's a lot of freedom and a lot of, each of us has a passion about the dance, and we always see like what is more important. And if we don't come to a conclusion, we have the teacher meeting, we can ask what they think. But it's also very interesting about teacher meeting, even if we ask them for a certain opinion, every year the teacher meeting is very different. It's a different group of people with different opinions, different things which will come in, they are interested in, so it will never be the same. There is not one answer to one question, just to name that.
How I see it looking back, because I'm not in the team anymore, how we worked. I see there was really a lot of discussing, talking, to find out what are the different opinions about decisions. And throughout the years, I think we found really, there was really a teaching also, teaching each other what is important to talk about, what is not important, because sometimes you discuss about a little thing 2 hours. All of a sudden, 2 hours are gone and you are just discussed. What was it like? Afterwards you think, no, really, why did we talk so long about it? And to learn in a team, to learn recognizing what is going on. Yeah. And to really to make decisions and to say what is important to talk about and what not. And in that way also we came at some point to the thing that we said, no, we don't want to discuss everything, we just give some things to one of us, and it's much easier. And only if some major changes need to be done, we bring it back to the team.
Ronja had a question.
Yes, you use feedback. You ask for feedback from the teachers. And how much time do you take for that? And how does that help you?
The feedback from the teachers, you mean? Like, yeah, of course, we are taking in your proposals a lot, of course, like what is the seed, what is being said from the teachers, what taste it was at the teacher meeting. It's special every year, and of course we are changing always a little bit. Some things will never be changed. the dinner time and the lunch time.
You never thought about a fasting contact improvisation festival?
Would be a great idea. What do you think?
No.
Yeah.
Normally, after each festival, I mean, during the teachers' meeting, we take notes of what teachers suggest and record them, so we have the opportunity when we have a more clear mind to make notes, each of us. So actually, as we hear, we write what also is important for us. So we don't bring everything, but some things are more important for each of us than others. So in that way we meet and we kind of evaluate what we could do different regarding what we just heard. And sometimes it's 2 years in retrospective. Two is not just one, but sometimes it's an accumulation of desires or things that come back that then we make space for it.
As you mentioned, the Freiburg Festival in 2000 was the first Contact Improv Festival in Europe. And at that time, as I remember, mostly US, American and Canadian teachers were the ones that we learned from, whether by traveling to the US or to Canada or having them here in other places. So that is one thing, that the festival had then also teachers from Germany teaching and from other European countries. And then since then a lot of other festivals have sparked up, and Festival Freiburg has been a model for many of them. But apart from this, as something that I think the Festival Freiburg has inspired, what do you think about the impact that the Freiburg Festival and the festival culture that has come up since then has on contact improvisation as a dance form, but also as a culture? I would be interested in your thoughts on that. I know it's big.
Yeah, how I really see it is these festivals, what we were building. Before that we had this E-side thing. I think only the teachers' exchange was possible on E-sides. And the festivals all of a sudden gave the possibility to have lots of time with teachers exchange. We could take classes of other teachers from the other side of the world, get some inspiration. I think this is still a very, very big gift of the festivals, all the festivals that there is this international exchange of the form.
I see that these festivals, or our intention of our festival was very clear. We want to research on contact improvisation, on the different styles that are possible in different worlds. So mainly very focused on the form, on the physical form, but through the festival culture and through meeting different cultures in such a residential setting where we share everything, we support each other with the dishwashing, with the cooking, with everything. We give emotional support, everything. So there is something much bigger growing and developing that is kind of also a system of values that we share. It's not only about the dance, it's much more. And this we were not focusing in the beginning, but I feel it's coming. It's an automatism that is just swinging with all this culture. And it's very strong also. And I think we create here something. We only focus, or mainly focus on the dance, but we create something of very liberal and supportive and non-hierarchical and very interesting way of living, of sharing passions that you don't find in the world outside. But I think it's not only in the contact community happening things like this, it's also in other communities, but there is something bigger than the dance itself. And we are kind of sharing very liberal values also compared to some other people who still try to keep up other conservative ideals that we don't want to share anymore.
Roz, you were pointing?
Yeah, just whether you
Growing?
I don't know.
We are growing older, wiser. I don't know. I think what is really important is the community, the people who come, and it will show us where it goes. We had some years like we had this video competition, for example, and I think in Ukraine was the war. They had some critical situations, and they were sending dancing in this violent situation and sending us this video, which was very touching. And they came and we showed the video here, and we had a very, very touching dance from the whole people participating. And these things are informing the whole festival in this year, and there I can see like how the world is influencing the things which are coming up with the festival. And for me, this is the growing, like understanding what's happening in the world. And we are coming here from the world.
For me, it's also like improvisation. So we don't know the future. We are here in the moment, and people bring some new stuff, and then from there it starts. It's not. I don't see us as the persons who are thinking in front. Maybe a little bit, but it's really this. We are all together building something new, and it's. Festival for me is only an expression of what is there, and it's changing.
Steps or future, they're little steps. I think, like I really think we see the present and the potential with the suggestions. And then we make a little step, like maybe 3 years ago, we decided that we will give more importance to the improvisation. So we started to invite teachers that are not only contact teachers, that they had contact experience long time ago. Like Anna is here, she was initiating contact improvisation in Madrid after she did the school in the Netherlands, and then her work completely deviated somewhere else, but all that information, it's still part of her work, it's part of her process. Similar was with Vera, that came last year with Joao, Fiadeiro, with other people. And maybe after 20 years of practice as a contact improviser, some of us became more interested in looking more at the improvisational aspect of the form or of the container, let's say. So that's part of a bit of the just closest past, and the future. I don't know, we started to include some more things in the teachers' meeting that might also land into the festival. We had a bit more talking. I don't know, we'll see what comes, but I don't hear as much wondering about it. It's not really, it's more like, okay, the next one, and we have 1 year to prepare. 1 year is quite short, because the work is huge. We work all year for this one event.
But the decision to go more towards improvisation was one important decision, I would say, but also one decision to start also integrating researchers, that they come to the teachers' meeting, they bring their research, so in a way they are questioning specific questions. and their questions could really, because they are really strongly working on something, are influencing the full teachers team, but also bringing their research into the festival. And this is also one thing that started 4 or 5 years ago and is continuing, and I think is influencing the festival quite in a good way. But what other new things will come up, we don't know, but we are open.
What is the most, the nicest and the craziest memory you have of the last 20 years in the festival?
Thank you, thank you for asking this, because this would have been also like the closing question, because you cannot have an evening like this without a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of like, oh, do you, wait, yeah, this one, no, wait, there was this other one. So thank you for the question.
Would you say the question again?
The question was like the funniest, craziest, most heart-opening, most failure moment that comes to your mind from the 20 years.
Just pick one, whatever.
One of the many.
One of the many.
An image came. We were sitting in a jam in that space, and Keith Hennessy is going around and he's whispering, and I got a whisper like 11 o'clock, you get naked and you enter the dance floor. And I didn't know what he was saying to other people, but we were sitting on the edges, many of us, and at one point there's a lot of people just undressing for the very first time, I think. Walking and dancing for a long time. That's my funny memory of this.
I was also touched by seeing it. I was surprised. What the fuck is going on? We don't have any control anymore. My only concern was, oh shit, if people from outside, from the neighborhood would come, we would really get a big problem. So I took care of the doors, that the doors get closed and no one could enter. And at one point it turned into something different.
They had knee pads on.
You don't get away with only one. No, this is too easy. No. One and for people, no.
Well, I remember one thing, what I found afterwards, or looking back, is really something very unnormal. We had this, in the 2 first years, I think, we had this going with Fackeln, with fire sticks in the park. And we were 150 people with fire sticks walking through the lake area, having performances at some places. And I think nowadays it's impossible. The police would arrive in some seconds, because it's dangerous nowadays. But there, before, I think it was maybe before 2003. Well, before, I don't know. So that was really, I think, at some point we stopped it. I think was good also, but was this was what came to my mind.
There are still some pictures out there. At least one, I remember.
I remember the very first year. The sleeping situation was not organized that they could sleep in the hall. We had salon dance studios. It was not allowed to sleep there. We rented another studio like 500 meters away. And some people, because they had a little kid, they entered a forbidden door, were sleeping there. It was belonging to another owner. They were sleeping in a theater place. And in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 o'clock, my colleague where I rented the dance studio, he was phoning me very upset and what the fuck is happening, and the teacher director phoned her and was totally upset, and we called the police and all this bullshit and what. And I didn't understand first what it was, but this theater director was a little bit over-exaggerating, and she was really upset with us, but nothing happened. So, but kind of a stress that can appear that you or the participants would never realize what's going on, but there are some details that suddenly come up, a big stress, and you need in the middle of the night to solve problems. And was still I have this in my memory. Was one stronger thing.
Can you imagine in the first festival we didn't have showers in the space? Just remember, so you needed to go for the swimming pool next door to take a shower or in your sleeping place. But during the day, no showers. Yeah. And I remember one night I was like, I had a really nice talk with Hikyang Kim. And it was one of the first nights of the festival, and I was talking, and I knew I have the whole festival in front of me. I will need to work the next day, talking, and it was 4 o'clock. I'm going into bed and get up the next day, and I had enough energy because so many people were there and there was so much energy. So okay, I go on. So it was good. That was amazing for me to have that energy, to receive that energy, to keep on going. That was it's a crazy moment.
I also remember like times when I think there was this South American community having this festa. They had music outside till late in the night. This was, for some years was really very special. This atmosphere of having just a good time. Someone was singing and some accordion player was there and was quite loud. I was trying to sleep somewhere at some point. This was going on till the light comes the next day.
It was a good question. I just remember we had we have this big pan where we cook the food. It's very heavy. It's very heavy. So they carry it inside. Our cook Rainer, who was here for many, many years, he's now on sailing tour over the world. They were carrying it inside. There were a lot of people around, and it fell. The pan fell, and the cook fell into the pan with an Aikido roll. He needed to go to hospital afterwards. His finger was cut, but it was okay. So that was a crazy moment. He did a performance also in his pen. So,
and then we ate the food, of course, because there was no other food, so we just ate this, no problem. I stop it here. No, I think it's good. You can question yourself. You could chat a little bit.
We cannot stop without really, because I haven't heard one really like a really big applause, like a big cheer for the four of you, and for all the other helpers. And I see here every year, and people helping since a long time. I think we should bring it up a little bit. It was a quiet talk, but I think we cannot end it quiet. We really have to give you a good shout and a good applause, and you can keep on going for the next days, but also for the next years. And yeah, thank you for your efforts.
So the space is free on the other side. You can bring your energy back into the dancing. It's wonderful. It's exactly what we need. So Georg is very happy that you continue till 3 o'clock.
He's used to it since
He's
20
used to it
years.
since many years.
You don't go
From Saturday on is fine.
next Saturday.
No, this Saturday.
No, if it's like this, it's quite easy till now. And if you don't stay
It's
up
just
till
one
sunrise
spot.
singing, it's also good because I sleep also very clear. But I want to also say one situation. In the morning, when they decide to get the physical key into an electric key, I was standing in front of the hall and I couldn't open the hall. And I was thinking, oh, scheiße. It's a great German word. And luckily Benno was sleeping in his camper, and I awakened just 6:30, and I said, hey, I can't open the door. People are coming, they want food. And he tried his key, and it didn't work as well. So we tried to get the caretaker of the house, and luckily he came in the next half hour, and everything went well. But I think I lost a kilo of sweating. How can I get this fucking hall open? So this was a very extra special moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nobody wants to leave.
You didn't bring your. This was meant to be a pajama party. You didn't bring your sleeping bag.
Sleeping bag?
Pijama, we all have our pijama.
We already in pajama.
We already know.
I remember the 36. The week? The 36. Oh, wow.
36 hours of dancing.
Yeah.
This was a very positive moment.
Being super young. You do. You were like to get up already. And we were talking about relationships. Remember?
This was really
For you.
yeah, scheiße, 300 people. I was thinking, where can I get in to open it from inside?
I also remember one time we didn't in the first couple of years we went outside.
We all went to the east side.
And when it was raining, we all had to go inside.
Yeah.
And that was I did, and there were already something like 200 people or something. And I still, now when I see it, I think, how did 200 people plus the food fit in here to eat? I mean, really, now it feels crowded when everybody is just standing there together with the food.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about 300...
Plus it was raining.
Yeah, otherwise you would need to get in.
And one time in the other space, when we were in the other space, that was also in one year it was raining all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember that there was actually no spot outside the dance floor that you could go to without getting a wet pair of pants or t-shirt or towel in your face.
This was the year when and with the sun falling the tan and outdoor activities.
Where Mama was screaming to the crowd that was real curious. Like, those people were getting tense and she was torturing them, saying like, in Africa, starving, you kids, or, Mama